Hi, today we'll be discussing uncaught exceptions in Java. So an exception in Java is an object that defines an unusual or erroneous situation. An exception is thrown by a program or the runtime environment and can be caught and handled appropriately if desired. So we'll do an example program. So we'll define a class. So public class, we'll just call it main. We'll just do the command line, so public static void main string array args, and then we'll just say we'll create two variables, an int numerator equals 10, and then we'll just create another int, and we'll say int denominator equals 0. Then we'll system.out.println. We'll just say before we divide by 0. And then we'll do another print line, system.out.println. And then we'll call numerator and we'll divide it by denominator. And then we'll do another print line, system.out.println. And we'll just say this text will not be printed. We'll save and run. So it should throw an exception. So the program threw an exception. It threw an arithmetic exception. Divide by 0 at main.main and main.java semicolon and then 8. So that's the call stack trace, and I think that's the get message. Those are some methods that we'll be discussing in the next videos. So this code demonstrates an uncaught exception. So what happened was it prints before we divide by 0 after we created some variables. Then we system.out.println before we divide by 0. That got printed here. And then we print out the result of numerator divided by denominator. And in Java you can't divide by 0, that throws an arithmetic exception. And we didn't try to catch that exception. It's an uncaught exception. So therefore it threw us the arithmetic exception. So the purpose of this program was just to demonstrate an uncaught exception. And we go into more detail in the notes. If you want to learn more about exceptions, there's going to be a whole few videos on just the whole theories and rules about exceptions. We're going to go over everything, but an arithmetic exception, it's a runtime exception in Java, so we have to basically it's an unchecked exception. So the only unchecked exceptions in Java are objects of type runtime exception or any of its descendants. All other exceptions are considered checked exceptions. So we've discussed uncaught exceptions, an example that demonstrates an uncaught exception. So we'll be discussing more in the next videos. See you there. Thanks.